I'm Will, I'm the Bald Book Geek, and there's been a lot of discussion going on about YA, about adult literature, a lot of generalisation, and a lot of half-truths and misnomers. So let's start. Certain booktubers, people on Goodreads, bloggers, so on, a lot of them really do scream that they only read YA, because YA is more diverse, that adult books are too male and too white, and so on. That all adult historical fiction is about the World War, or adult books are just some nurse's love story. So let's be blunt and say this. A lot of these people pooping on adult books really get offended when people generalise and crap on their beloved YA. You can generalise YA, and I think we all pretty much accept that 90% of YA is love stories. Doesn't matter where it's set, whether it's fantasy, whether it's this, whether it's that it's love stories. And then you get the whole people on Twitter, that this call-out culture that's become really toxic and really nasty. It seems strange that even when people just don't want to read an adult book about, or non-fiction about a gay character in China, but they want a YA fantasy about a gay character in a land set in China. You're fundamentally missing the point. And this whole own voice thing, and there's like a whole debate going on. But I am going to say to you, as a booktuber, as people, as bloggers, we have access to literature, we have access to publishers, we have access to a lot of stuff the general public don't. And it surprises me that sometimes the ignorance level of certain people that say that they only read YA because of this reason are just generalising, and they don't understand. So let's lay it out. The difference between adult and YA in terms of marketing is that YA will scream characters of colour, gay characters. It will scream this as a marketing ploy. It's marketing 101. It screams it from the rooftops that this book has diversity, this book has this book has that. Where adult literature is marketed in a different way. It's marketed on the story, on the writer. You have to do your own research rather than being spoon-fed the information. And I think a lot of people were just lazy and generalise it. Like, generalising historical fiction is all about World War II. Are you kidding me? My historical fiction tastes tend to be ancient history, Egyptian, Roman, Babylonian, Spartan, Greek, the Renaissance I'm slightly obsessed with, and the Crusades, which are fascinating periods, and there's some beautiful works of fiction set within those eras that are powerful and thought-provoking, that are also well-researched and great reads. It's not just some nurse's love story in World War II. Generalising that it's all white and male, it's polar opposite. There are a lot of writers that have very androgynous names or initials for a reason. The writer is marketed as a writer, not just because of what or what isn't between their legs. Generalising fiction and generalising frustrates me because it means you miss out on so much. And I do read YA. There is some great YA. I can name Beyond was a fantastically beautiful little YA novel. And things like The Hunger Games are fantastic. How I Live Now are these fantastic YA novels. But you see these people screaming about the YA, getting so hyped and, going, well, this book's going to be amazing. Then they read it and they kind of like it, or they give it a raving review, and then months later it ends up in some random unhaul video with the lines, oh, I didn't really get it, I didn't really understand it, or, oh, I didn't really read it properly, I couldn't get into it. Building hype and getting hype culture is also not good. And I do feel like people in general buy into hype a little bit more, especially in the YA spectrum, where for adult literature hype doesn't really exist. Except if you're talking books by Stephen King, and I'm not a big King fan, but it's true. You know, he does a new book and everyone kind of screams from the rooftops. As a reader, I like to read as diversely as possible. And when you have, there was a person on Twitter and on booktube, the younger end of YA. She was in her 20s and she put something out saying, this book is really diverse, it has a male main character. My brain melted at that point, because I'm thinking, what bubble do you live in? What literary bubble do you live in? You know, you are missing out on some fantastic novels. And generalising adult fiction as this or that or to this just shows ignorance. It shows that as a booktuber, I have access to publishing information, to writer information. I have access to things that people don't. And we need to show some clout here and say, well, that's not true. This generalisation is not true. I'm not a big YA reader. I kind of skipped YA growing up. I went straight to adult books. I discovered Stephen King and Dan Brown in my mid-teens, and that was kind of it. It's only in my 20s where I've read YA. There is this sort of toxic bubble spear that a black writer can write a book about black characters and some white 20-year-old, some white 25-year-old on Twitter screams that it's not diverse enough or it's not black enough. Or the same goes for a gay writer writing gay characters. Nothing is good enough, and it becomes this little toxic bubble. And I worry that people are missing out on a lot. There is some fantastic fiction that is beautiful and different that people won't read. They just dismiss it because it's an adult book. When you're a 25-year-old person or 35-year-old person reading a book aimed at 14-year-olds. You can generalise about YA, and I disagree with the generalisation. Kind of. For every good YA novel, there's like 4 tons of shit to dig through. But adult literature on booktube lacks representation. It lacks... There are fantastic channels doing adult literature, but when all you see are people screaming about hyped YA books and gushing how beautiful the cover is, can we talk about other things? Why did you like it? Was the story good? Was the writing good? Don't crap on something if you don't understand it. If you come from an unresearched place on any topic, you will look like an idiot. And sadly, we don't have that. And we need to talk about it more. We need to talk about these fantastic books. So, tell me guys, what are your favourite adult novels? What are your favourite YA novels? Because I'd love to know. Tell me in the comments. Tell me any books you'd recommend. Tell me what you think. So I'm Will, I'm the Bald Book Geek, and I will see you guys later.